What makes a group of young men leave Brighton for Syria? In 2014, three brothers, Jaffer, Amr and Abdullah Degayas, travelled with their friend Ibrahim Kamara to join an al-Qaeda affiliated group.
The pinnacle of Islam is jihad, and it's the best sacrifice, and this is the best thing you can really do at this time and era of time.
During this period, it was estimated that 5 Britons a week were travelling to the region to train and fight with militant groups. On the 23rd of September 2014, the US carried out massive airstrikes across Syria.
Last night we also took strikes to disrupt plotting against the United States and our allies by seasoned al-Qaeda operatives.
The Degayas brothers were deployed elsewhere, but 19-year-old Ibrahim Kamara was killed.
At the roundabout, continue straight.
Ibrahim's mother, a refugee from Sierra Leone, runs a charity shop in the city of Brighton.
Again, there will be special rate for 99 p.m. Other price. So.
Describe Ibrahim to us.
They're just normal kid, and Ibrahim was honest, helpful, and very respectful.
He was very good friends with Amr Degayas. Whose idea do you think it was to go? And why do you think they decided to go? They were childhood friends and...
I know there's big thing or big organization behind this that supports these children to go, like pay their ways and things like that, and so he's my son. He's still my son. That jihadi, that extremist, that fanatic, he's my son, and I love him.
Ibrahim's mother was not the only one who didn't see this coming. His path to radicalisation was hidden from sight. Known to his friends as Ibi, news that he had gone to Syria came as a shock. So what was Ibrahim like to know?
Well, he just seemed like any other lad, really. I mean, I knew him from school. You know, he was just a lad that liked playing football. He just seemed normal. I mean, I never really spoke to him about anything religious. He never came across as that much of a religious person. He didn't express his views in any way to me.
What sort of stuff did you sort of talk to him about?
Well, just what any other 16-year-old would talk about, I suppose. Music, girls, like what he was doing later on. I remember sitting at the back of a bus with him and comparing two rappers and how fast they rapped and how many words that they could fit in one verse and stuff like that. It was just as it should be with any 16-year-old, I guess.
So Ibi never mentioned anything religious, or certainly never one day leaving the country to fight?
No, none of us really had a clue politically. Maybe Ibi did, I certainly didn't. Most of my mates didn't either. I didn't know any more about it until I read that the Degayas brothers had been killed as well.
Ibrahim had travelled to Syria with his best friend, Amr Degayas. They were joined by two of Amr's younger brothers, Jaffer and Abdullah, both of whom died in combat within months.
Jaffer he was quite young, he was 16 years old when he came, but yet he did the action which many men fail to do, or many men don't even have the courage to do.
So we're on our way to Saltdean, which is where the Degayas family lived for so many years. The Degayas family came to prominence locally after the boy's uncle was imprisoned in Guantanamo Bay in 2002. He was released without charge and returned to Brighton. His high-profile case made the family a target for locals and the far right, which contributed to the boys' troubled lives. Leaked police reports suggest the boys suffered domestic abuse at the hands of their father, which he denies. But despite their considerable issues, the Degayas boys found some stability and support with local volunteer organisations. Jackie Chase worked with the boys for years. When you learnt some of them had travelled to Syria, were you shocked when you thought of the boys that you knew?
Yes, I was. I was very fond of them. The twins were funny, very, very excited and interested in life. They were really into filmmaking, and the eldest boy, Amr, was a very thoughtful and very compassionate boy. Little Jaffa was a sweetie. They didn't find it easy at school. They weren't being helped with their emotional problems, so some of their behaviour was emotionally, I would say, erratic.
They were bullied.
Yes.
And do you think the school was set up to deal with this kind of quite overt racism and repeated bullying? I mean, could they...
No, it was the school chose to ignore the racism.
But why?
I don't think they wanted to admit that it existed. I did not feel that the police were sufficiently protective. The attitude is more critical than protective.
Right, so in some cases they demonised
Yes.
as opposed to protecting.
Yeah, so the authorities became something threatening rather than something supportive.
A serious case review is currently underway. A council spokesman speaking on behalf of the school said,
"We will not be commenting on specifics until this review is published later this year."
After the boy's uncle was released without charge from Guantanamo, right-wing groups across the region targeted the family, leading to a series of violent attacks. We gained access to a set of classified police documents that detailed the extent of the abuse the family was subjected to. Graffiti beheaded on Muslims, the mother being spat on in a bus, bricks thrown for the windows, groups of men attacking the boys with wearing balaclavas. We've come to a car park on the south coast to meet a group that campaigns against what it calls radical Islam. This group has been quite active in campaigning, including against the Gayes family. Let's see what they've got to say.
At the moment, the anger in this country is building and building and building. People are worried sick. The borders are wide open. Anybody can come in. There's an army on our shores nobody knows about and nobody knows their strength.
What's your theory for why lads from cities like Portsmouth here and Brighton are getting radicalised?
Probably they'd blame it on I've got a poor home life. I don't feel included in the general scheme of things in the city. I feel excluded from this and that because of the colour of my skin, my religion, etc., etc. Well, we've never heard that from the Sikh community or the Hindu community or the Chinese or the Buddhist, etc.
The Gayes family themselves were on the far right's radar. In 2012, activists protested outside their uncle's home in Brighton. How important was it for the group to challenge the Gayes family?
The lads that went down to his house wasn't all March for England. Fair play to them. Let the public know who's living there. At the end of the day, that man was not in Guantanamo Bay for going shopping in Tesco's and Sainsbury's. People deserve to know who's living there.
What happened if you just wanted to sort of, come out of Guantanamo Bay, settle down, live a quiet life by the sea?
Can you seriously tell me somebody is going to come back, I want to live in sunny Brighton, just sit on a deck chair with a hanky on my head and eat ice cream all day? A normal man like that is going to integrate back into society, the same as a paedophile released from jail is not going to integrate back into society. They will re-offend the same as a terrorist will re-offend.
I had many questions for Ahmed Gayes, the only surviving member of the group. I managed to track him down and he agreed to speak to us on the phone from the front lines near Aleppo. What had driven him to leave Brighton?
I feel like I'm doing something valuable and important. Rather, if I was in Brighton and living a normal life, having a normal job, I would always used to ask myself, what am I doing for the purpose of life?
It's clear the boys were facing a crisis of identity and belonging, as well as suffering a range of violent threats, at home and on the street. The intervention of the far right, along with serious questions about the state's dealings with these vulnerable children, marginalised them further. It's a complex picture with no single factor to blame, but the extent of their exclusion from normal life in Brighton meant they were vulnerable for radicalisation.
They used to call us Paki, nigger, and all those kind of things. And they would be going around us with their bikes when we're coming from school, and lots of things. We moved to this place in Seaford. After that, they moved us to Portslade and then Angleton, and then Oh, it's the 11 times. This is the 11 times. That's it. It was 10. I don't know what happened, believe me. It's just, they were good kids. Amir was the kind of honest boy, you know, very honest. And they were so sweet. Ibrahim.
But you talked about Syria towards the... before he
No,
went.
he just said he want to go and help, that women are suffering and children. So I said to him, I said, what are you going to do there? I said, you don't have money. Where will you get money to even pay a ticket to go? I wasn't dreaming that there are people there that will sponsor him and just take him like that. And that he will use his 15 years old passport and get away with it. So
Who do we suspect planted the idea of Syria?
if I know, I will meet the person personally myself, because it's my business. I need answers. You know, if your loved one was ill and then you see them die, that's okay. But my way is really, really sad. It's really painful. I don't even know how he traveled. I've been left with pain forever.
The death of Khadija's son has left her tortured by uncertainty. But what now for his friend, Ahmed Agayas?
If I am not saved from the punishment of grave, the day of reckoning, the big day of test, a big loser.
So essentially, you're looking to get killed?
Of course, yeah. I want my ending to be death in the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I would not accept any other death. I would not like any other death.